Hi guys, my name is Emily. Today I'm going to be talking about seeing clearly in the Harry Potter series. This video was inspired by Firmoo glasses, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. Today I'm going to talk about how Hermione functions critically in the world of the Harry Potter series. So I know in a lot of the children's literature courses and Harry Potter courses that I've taken and taught, you hear people, when we bring up a Harry Potter book, talk about how they were waiting for their Hogwarts letter because they just loved the Wizarding world so much. That love of the Harry Potter world stems from just how awesome and fantastical it is. There are all of these amazing animals and magical creatures. There's an abundance of delicious sounding foods, and young wizards play games flying on broomsticks. And I mean, I could go on. I could make this list go on forever. But the Wizarding world does have some pretty big issues, and today I'm going to talk about seeing the race issues in Harry Potter. Specifically, I am going to look at this through the oppression of the house elves and how Hermione sort of sees and brings to light the oppression and enslavement of house elves. Linking back to seeing clearly, I'm going to talk about how Hermione functions in the text as the one who enables readers to see clearly when she enables Harry to see clearly. She removes that rose-colored tint to our glasses that Rowling kind of layers on with all of just the magic in the world. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the films. The films do a really great job of establishing Hermione as the provider of clarity. When we first meet Hermione in the film, she repairs Harry's glasses. The books take a little bit longer. It's not until we get to Prisoner of Azkaban that we see Hermione fix Harry's glasses. In my copy of the text, I will leave a citation for this in the description box down below. It's on page 132 and 133. Hermione spells Harry's glasses to repel water during a Quidditch match. She literally enables him to see clearly. It's these moments that establish Hermione as the character who provides clarity. So just to compare Harry seeing things on his own and Harry seeing things with the aid of Hermione, let's look at an incident in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Because Harry is our narrative point of view, we as readers only really see what Harry sees, and we only really care about what Harry cares about. So I'd like to compare an encounter with a house elf when Harry is alone in Chamber of Secrets to an encounter with a house elf when Harry is with Hermione in Goblet of Fire. The enslavement of house elves actually came up very clearly, but very quickly. I actually missed it the first time when I was reading this for my thesis project. Dobby visits Harry in the hospital. Dobby talks about his enslavement and he gets upset, and Harry gets distracted, and the conversation about Dobby's enslavement stands with no criticism. So Harry looks at Dobby's pillowcase. "Why do you wear that thing, Dobby?" asked Harry. "This, sir," said Dobby, plucking at the pillowcase. "'Tis the mark of the house elf's enslavement, sir. Dobby can only be freed if his masters present him with clothes, sir." Dobby mopped his bulging eyes and said suddenly, "Harry Potter must go home. Dobby thought that his bludger would be enough to make your bludger." So Harry gets distracted. We have the idea of enslavement brought up, and then quickly we move on because Harry gets upset about being attacked. Later on, this issue sort of gets confused when we hear Lucius Malfoy refer to Dobby as his servant. So this is where Harry has tricked Lucius Malfoy into giving Dobby a pair of socks. "You've lost me my servant, boy," said Lucius, on page 248 in my copy of the text. So for me, hearing the word servant implies wages and the freedom to seek alternative employment. Enslavement implies unpaid labor and the inability to leave this position of a slave. Dobby identifies as enslaved. The logic behind the freedom of a house elf, so that you would have to be given something, implies that it's not a job, he's not a servant, but the wording in the text sort of muddles this, and Harry only sees this by himself, and Harry really doesn't question this. What is a slave versus what is a servant? He doesn't have Hermione to do that so that he could see clearly what is Dobby's position and what that would mean for the Wizarding world if we casually enslave creatures. So if we compare Harry's encounter with Dobby in Chamber of Secrets to everyone's encounter with Winky in Goblet of Fire, we get something a little bit different. Hermione, the provider of clarity, is present the next time we meet a house elf. Although we've encountered wizard prejudice in Chamber of Secrets, with the whole fact that the Chamber of Secrets is a chamber of ethnic cleansing, mudbloods, purebloods, all of that stuff, we have encountered wizard prejudice, but we haven't really made that connection to the house elves. We've only really cared about human bodies, right? Like, we've cared about Hermione being insulted by Draco Malfoy, but we haven't really cared about Dobby being enslaved. When we get to Goblet of Fire, having Hermione there to sort of remove those rose-colored glasses, to enable Harry to see clearly, to enable readers to see clearly, it's in Goblet of Fire that we have the real criticism of the wizarding world. And I feel like part of that comes from the resistance that Hermione meets when she tells people, hey, you know, these elves are enslaved, enslaving people is wrong, and they're like, they're happy. They buy into that master narrative of the happy slave. In Goblet of Fire, right at the beginning at the Quidditch World Cup, we see how Hermione is critical of Barty Crouch's treatment of his house elf Winky. He treats her really, really poorly, and other adult wizards bear witness to him treating his house elf poorly, and nobody cares. So she questions why those who witness Winky's abuse don't, quote, do something about it, end quote. And that's on page 112 in my version of the text. Again, I will cite it in the description box down below. And so in response to this, Ron, who is a fairly liberal, pure-blooded wizard, if Malfoys are the extremist purebloods, the Weasley family, we're sort of led to believe, is a politically liberal wizarding family, quite progressive. So Ron sort of represents the perspective of the general wizard. And he says that, quote, the elves are happy, end quote, being enslaved, and like, quote, being bossed around, end quote, by wizards, on page 112. So if Ron feels that slavery is okay, then we can infer that the majority of the wizarding population also feels that way. The majority of the wizarding population isn't going to question these racist beliefs and these racist systems that work to oppress anybody that's not a wizard. So because Harry is our access point to the wizarding world, and Hermione enables Harry to see, she enables us to see and to start to question the wizarding world and the systems that we're sort of taught are awesome and wonderful based on the first few books. Hermione actually calls Ron on his racism and his bigoted ideas. She states, quote, it's people like you, Ron, who prop up rotten and unjust systems, end quote. And that's also on page 112. Because of the epic good versus evil, Harry versus Voldemort conflict that's happening in the series, it's easy to sort of look past these things and see the wizarding world as this wholly good place, and sort of think about it uncritically, like see it in those black and whites. And we want to believe that the Ministry is good and that Voldemort is just evil, doing his own evil, racist things, but the Ministry of Magic participates in equal amounts of racism and oppression, and it's Hermione who reveals that to us by being the provider of clarity. Ultimately, she reminds readers that being complicit in an unjust system is just as bad as enacting violence. So then we see Hermione spew, which is not without problems. If you'd like a separate video talking about the pros and cons of spew, I can do that, but I feel like that's maybe too much for here today. I guess the point to take away from this is that Hermione sees a problem and then she enacts change. And for readers, she shows us that when we see a problem that our government isn't addressing, we have the responsibility to do something about it, right? If we see a problem, we can campaign, we can make people aware, just like Hermione does with spew. She starts to ask people to question, like, do you really know where your food comes from? Do you know how this common room gets cleaned? Do you know the amount of unpaid labor that goes into your happiness? She starts to bring awareness. The first 3 books, we were totally unaware that a lot of the magic of Hogwarts is actually unpaid labor of house elves. What ultimately I want you to take away from this is that Hermione is the provider of clarity. She invites us as readers to think critically about the text. She points out one area of the wizarding world that has some flaws, but I mean, we can look at different areas in the wizarding world and definitely critically think about these things and the implications of these things. You don't have to be a grown-up to be political and to make changes. And I think that's a pretty empowering message for kids. If you think about the fact that Hermione organizes an activist group all by herself and she does all this research, I mean, it's kind of misguided, but I mean, its heart's in the right place. Let me know your thoughts on Hermione as the provider of clarity, and now let's get to Firmoo. So if you are in need for glasses, I have been given a discount code for a free pair of glasses. I'm going to quickly review the glasses and give you some information. I was sent this free pair of glasses in exchange for an honest review. I'm not being paid to do this video. This video was inspired by the glasses because I didn't want to just give you a review. You got some bookish content on vision. These are number LYC2303 in purple, and I got them in the narrow size, and they are regular $25. I normally wear children's Ray-Bans without the nose thingies, and they slide down my face when I do yoga, and I find that very annoying. And so I was actually looking to purchase glasses with the nose thingies because they stay on your face better. So I accepted this offer because I was already looking into purchasing another pair of glasses that would fit my needs. I have worn these to yoga, and they are great. I go to a hot yoga studio, you get really sweaty, and these glasses, in terms of fit this way and this way, are excellent. They stay on my face. I can do all the downward dogs, all the twisting and whatever, and they stay on my face. They don't slide off my face, which is perfect. It was what I was looking for. So on the website, they make you measure your current glasses and compare them to their 3 sizes. Now I have the facial proportions of a child. Like I said, these are children's Ray-Bans. Like, their measurements for narrow matches up with my children's Ray-Bans perfectly. The only thing is that the distance here, like across the height of the frame, is not. So I was expecting like a narrow height for the actual like lens itself, which is not the case. These lenses are huge. This is actually the only thing that I don't like about this pair of glasses, is that it's so big and my face is so small that I feel like I kind of look a little cross-eyed because there's so much space here, but that is just a me thing. Like, I am a very small human and I have the facial proportions of a very small human. If you are an average sized human, you will probably not have all of this extra space that I think doesn't look that great on me personally. Good things about these glasses: I like the color. I do like the quality of the lens. I'm not sure if it shows up on camera very well, but in real life, it often looks like I'm not wearing glasses. Like, the lenses are so clear, which might not be showing up too well because of the softbox light I have. I feel like you might be picking up the glare in the lenses, but in real life, they are very clear. I love that it came with a hard case. This is perfect for my yoga bag. I throw these into my yoga bag most of the time. They just live there. And to have the hard case is perfect, keeps them from getting damaged. Super appreciate that. Their website is really easy to use. You can upload your prescription. Like, if you have a copy, you can just upload it. Their customer service is really great. The person emailing me, Laura, checked in with me about these glasses, and then when I was like, oh, they're kind of big, she was like, do you want another pair? And I'm okay with these. I'm happy with these because I'm only wearing them to work out, so it's fine. But their customer service is really excellent, and I'm not gonna lie, the cost is pretty great. Like, regular cost $25 is pretty cheap. It's probably just this pair of glasses specifically, but if you are a smallish human that doesn't mind the amount of glass, I would recommend these. If you have a positive prescription, I have a negative prescription, which makes my eyes look smaller. I'm sure if you've ever done this, you've played with someone's glasses and you go like this. If your eyes get smaller, you have a negative prescription. If I had a positive prescription, that might make it better too. I think it's the combination of being very small and having a negative prescription that gives this giant space thing. But yeah, in terms of quality for price, it's great. So overall, I'm happy with the product, I'm happy with the service, and if you're looking for a free pair of glasses to try, I have a voucher code that I will leave in the description box down below. You do have to go through the link. Again, the link is in the description box down below, and you can use the link and my code to get a free pair of glasses. I'm not getting any kickbacks from this. I'm just passing on the free glasses because being able to see is great, and glasses are expensive, and I really appreciate that now that I have absolutely no medical coverage whatsoever. So yeah, chat with me in the comments down below about Harry Potter and vision, and I will see you soon with a bookish video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!